What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, kids, I've got some real value for you. I've got a gentleman by the name of Marc Demetriou. Is it Demetriou?
Yeah, Demetriou. Sounds good.
How do you say it?
Demetriou.
Yeah, Marc Demetriou. He wrote a book that's getting critical acclaim in schools everywhere. Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life. And I thought, man, what better content than this to share with the Bomb Squad.
Yes, sir.
So Marc was kind enough to come on into Vegas, swing by the Lightspeed Studios, and give us a moment. So welcome, Marc.
I'm happy to be here.
So I want to get right into this because have you ever heard Dropping Bombs?
Of course. Come on.
Yeah,
everyone knows Brad Lee.
We just shoot the shit, right?
Yep.
Talk about problem situations and how people handle them. But because you wrote that book, I am eagerly awaiting all of the tips, tricks, and lessons that I'm sure are contained in that book.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Now, you were fortunate enough to have a grandfather that kind of mentored you.
Yes, sir.
See, a lot of us don't get that. Of course, when my grandpa was alive, he would kind of mentor us. He was a old logger. He was a choke setter at a logging camp. But he was like a tough old bird, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, he'd give us funny things to say and analogies like he used to say, you couldn't pour piss out of a boot if the directions were on the bottom. So he gave us a lot of those.
Right.
But never really any business or life advice.
Right. None of I walked to school barefoot in the snow, none of those?
Yeah, none of those.
Uphill.
So if I were to read lessons from the grandfather, in your opinion, what is the single most valuable lesson in it?
Big bomb. Ready? Attitude is everything.
Well, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Bomb Squad, I'm hoping since we've up to a couple hundred episodes, you already know that attitude is everything. But explain what your grandfather explained and how to, get your attitude right. Because saying it is easy. Right. Doing it is a bitch.
I'll give you an example of one of the specific attitudes, everything. So he told me when he was here, whether it was polishing shoes, starting out, or washing dishes, he never thought he was beneath anybody in life ever. This dude was 20 years old with nothing, but he had the ability to know there was honor in working and labor, to know he's making money and know it was a stepping stone to the next opportunity. And then when he had that job, he told me, and at a young age, he realized, I'm going to bust my butt and I'm going to do a great job, and people are going to know that I'm caring about what I'm doing, show that I'm passionate, and I'm going to excel in life, and they're going to see me do this. And this is exactly what happened. So that was his attitude then. He was happy to be working and knew that he wasn't stuck in that job. It was honorable to have that job, and it was a stepping stone. And that's the part of the attitude. That's the first part. Second part is to put everything you have and everything you're doing in life, whether it's work or family or friends or business, that's a whole different story. But he put it into his opportunities and he excelled, and that's what got him advanced in life and got him noticed. Every job he had, it's because his personality, who he was, likability factor, hardworking. I'll put that all in the big attitude category, but that was his persona. So if I say to people, why did he succeed and come here with nothing and retire 60 millionaire when others didn't during that time? He came a year after the stock market crash. The same year, 1929. Horrible year. But he hit the ground running and didn't stop, no matter what. Every obstacle, every backdrop, every financial difficulty, tragedies, deaths, all that stuff happened. It happens to all of us. But he kept moving forward, this dude. That's like a long answer for attitude, but that's what it came down to. That separated him from the pack.
See, folks, success leaves clues, doesn't it,
Absolutely,
Marc?
Absolutely.
So I met Marc at an event called Secret Knock. That's where you have a secret knock to get in because nobody knows where it is. I kind of like the secrecy.
Right.
Do you?
Absolutely.
It's what makes it kind of cool.
It's very cool.
Then old Greg Reed, he makes it cool too.
Yeah, very awesome. A life-changing event, honestly, for a lot of reasons.
So if you're listening to the podcast and you guys want to write down this book, I would do so because you said something earlier that I liked. It's not only does the book give you a bunch of great lessons, and it should be in every school in the country because basically our schools aren't teaching the basic success principles.
Yeah, absolutely not.
They're teaching a bunch of stuff like read The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yeah. The Hobbit. Yeah, they learn about a kid that just a hobbit that wanted to go ahead in life and be an adventurer. That's great.
Yeah.
I remember reading The Hobbit. I can't tell you what I remember from the book or what the lesson was. I don't even remember.
It was J.R.R. Tolkien.
Right, that's who wrote it. But I don't remember a teacher saying, "Now, children, here's the reason you read the book. Here's the takeaway. Here's the dropping bomb."
Right.
I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, me either.
There you go.
Matter of fact, I don't think anyone has really. Have they changed it yet?
I have no idea. I think they still read that book. I have no idea.
No, I mean, are schools putting this kind of thing in now?
Oh.
You just got a couple or one.
Yeah, as of right now, I mean, I was relentless in my efforts. I've been speaking at college and high schools for last many years, last year and a half, I should say. And I finally got them to understand that we need a course in college. And the name of my course is simply How to Succeed in Business and Life. And I've had my first university now that has approved this course. Not only approved it, but they're making it required for every student in the business school to take the course as a freshman coming into school. Yeah, big time.
See, that gives me, faith in humanity again.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, because, dude, you start to think, man, why are they doing this? And then you hear, well, they're trying to breed workers.
Right.
That's what it's for.
Right.
The Industrial Revolution, when
Right.
they needed workers. So that they set up a whole program where you just teach them like this, where they show up and they expect to get a job and
Right.
work there hard
Right,
and do
right,
the right
right,
thing
right.
and get
Everything
a
will be
house
great
and
and
get
rosy.
in debt.
Yeah.
No one tells you, hey, buddy, that's not necessarily the right way to go anymore. Maybe
Right.
it was a while back.
Right.
So do you think you would say your grandfather had some sort of future ability to see things, or he was just smart as hell?
I tell you, so if to go to, not to spoil the book, but he left at 16 years old from Cyprus because he was poor and he wanted to get ahead in life and be something and be somebody and be able to send money back to his family because dad worked very hard. And he left in the middle of the night, just to answer your question in a second. And his dad found out he was leaving. Literally, he was leaving without telling his parents because he would have never been able to go or face them to leave. His dad came to the dock and said, "Son, I'm not going to stop you. I heard that the villagers are leaving, but you have my heart and soul and everything about us, and we're going to make sure, we want you to make us proud, excuse me." And he hugged him and sent him on his way. And his heart was full, and he felt complete that his dad accepted it, but it was the scariest night of his life. He agreed to feed animals for a free ride to Greece. That was the start of his life. So the magnification of that situation, he was willing to die
Free
trying.
ride. A free ride to Greece?
Yeah, he went from Cyprus to Greece. He wanted to get to Greece first to work there and save some money to get to London after that and come to America from London. He knew how he had to get here. So the biggest part of that message for me is why I've constantly worked hard to excel in life and never fail. Because this man, my grandfather, best friend and mentor, he was willing to sacrifice his life to get ahead in life and not stay poor and be where he was and to be able to go out and pursue what's out there. And he did that in mighty fashion. And to me, who am I to fail in life? This man did this, and he's trained me his whole life with wisdom and guidance, and I was a son he never had, and that mentorship, the power of that. And that's why I wrote the book. I really, 10 years after he passed away, I said, I can't believe he's no longer on this earth because he was such an unbelievable individual. I need to share my mentor with the world, to give them the advantage that I had. And that's why I wrote the book, to empower, inspire, and motivate people like I've been and like I was.
But you got it firsthand.
100% firsthand.
That's freaking nice.
It's awesome. 37 years, by the way, too. He died 97.
Wow.
It's amazing. Have a grandfather that long.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So would you talk to him on the phone a lot, or?
Oh, we saw each other all the time. He lived right near us. He stayed with us a lot. He was retired at 60 when I was born.
And he accomplished great things.
Well, he worked his way up in the hospitality industry. So he ended up managing clubs, but he managed the high society clubs where he met all the rich and famous, and he hung around them. So he learned from mentors all around him. He was blessed by that. He listened to everybody. He would go to investment school for a week and pay for school to learn about the stock market. He'd learn about things from people about business. So he was a sponge. And then he became friends with these people. So he worked his way up into that world, where literally his last job was at the West Side Tennis Club in Forest Hills, New York, where they had all the U.S. Opens. So here he is wearing his black tux every day in the 50s and 60s. He met Frank Sinatra and John F. Kennedy, and he lived a life like you can't imagine. He retired, a millionaire at 60 because he had enough money in the stock market to live on. He realized, wow, I have enough to live on dividend interest. I'm done. And he retired, and I happened to be born around the same time. So 37 years, we were together all the time.
Yeah, and then a lot of people don't understand the recurring revenue or residual. What'd you call it?
The dividend, well,
Yeah,
dividend
dividend.
interest income. It just kept coming every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're technically financially free.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he didn't realize, because he worked so hard. Sometimes he got so much money in tips from these socialites, he never even paid. He never even used his salary. He told me some years I never touched my salary. I made so much in tips, and you know why? He knew everybody's name, where they'd like to sit, what they'd like to eat, who their friends were. He made it a purpose. He was Mr. Hospitality. He excelled in his job. They'd take him out to dinner and Broadway shows, like I'm telling you, because who he was, because he cared.
So you should have wrote a customer service course from him.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of that's in there too. Yeah.
Customer
Big time.
service nowadays.
Big time.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, it's crazy.
Man, that's interesting stuff. So what'd you do before writing this book? Because now you're kind of running around doing the book thing and the author thing. And what did you do before this?
So just a quick backdrop on me. So I basically started out of school at a finance major, and I ended up working for State Farm Insurance. Everyone knows State Farm Insurance. Worked there for 7 years. Moved up quickly to become agency manager, to manage 37 State Farm agencies for them. So that was great learning, great corporate training. Took all the knowledge I had, and I actually helped agents kind of start to run their businesses and get set up. So at a young age, I was kind of in the trenches, learning about business and marketing and products. It was really great. I was fully licensed in insurance and investment products. Then I got an opportunity to co-found and start up a business as a chief operating officer with 3 other guys. They were looking for a guy with my background. So I went in there. We killed it for 8 years. Ended up getting bought out by my other partners. And from there, I just said, what do I want to do now? I could be a C-level guy. This is I was literally 32. I'm sorry, 30. What year was that? 2005, excuse me. So that was about 14 years ago. So I was about 36 at the time. And basically, I decided to go into the mortgage industry because I realized with my background and my reputation and my financial savvy, in 2005, there were not many people with my background in the space. So the light bulb went off and said, I want to go in the space and kill it because I'm reputable, I do a great job, I excel, and I achieve excellence in my jobs. And I'm going to go in that space, and I'm going to just go in there and explode. And that's what I did. I just never stopped. And I used my relationships, my connections, built a great operational system, and that's what I've done for 14 years. So I've been ranked top 1% in the country every year, 14 years in a row, and all that baloney.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, so that's my day job, and I have a great staff, so it allows me to get out of the office a lot. But I've built a great name for myself, and 3,000-4,000 clients later, they're my referral sources now. So that's my residual income because I've killed them with service and nothing they've ever experienced ever in their life at a bank, and they come back and they send their family and their sister and their brother. Every closed loan is worth 5 referrals in their lifetime. It's a fact. So if you do a great job and don't worry about making money or high rates or fees, just do the best job, get the best deal you can for a client, and they're going to come back. And that's residual income. And that's something that investment income is what I was always tied to, investment insurance, because it's residual. This is different. I've built a residual sales force based on doing a good job. And the referral sources now also, happy clients, happy referral sources. So that's what I do for 14 years. And I'm just going to keep doing that. It's no problem. I have a great system in place. So I just do the sales side.
What happens when this thing blows up in all the schools and you're being demanded everywhere?
Well, the good thing is in my business, I can hire, like I have 4 people now, I can hire 10 people, just take the calls and do the business. I'm the CEO in a sense of my branch, and just that's it. Mark's operational flow here, but he's on the road and we'll take the call. So as long as they know the integrity is in the office. The reputation's in the office. They get the job done in the right manner, in the trusting manner. That's already there. I built that. I built that name.
Put the processes in there.
Processes are incredible, and my name's behind it. So now I could be like the CEO in a sense. I'm really a glorified salesperson if you think about it. But that's it. So I could be out of the office. I should be able to set this business up, and I'm getting close to being there, where I could be anywhere in the world, take the call from a person looking for a mortgage, and within 3 minutes just be able to send it to my team after saying hello at least. I want that first connection. And that's my goal. Then I could be speaking and coaching and teaching and, being called in to speak at different events throughout the country. So that's my goal is, just to be able to help inspire and motivate people with my grandfather's message and my story.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what happens because if schools are talking about making this mandatory, that must mean they're finally wanting to see some change.
Yeah.
And if that's the case and this thing starts working, they're like, damn, dude, your book's like producing winners left and right.
Right.
Well, then next thing you know, it's all over the United States, dude. You're not going to have time to do anything.
It's all good. Well, here's the good thing. The way I'm going to do this is, so I'm not planning to teach every school. So they'll have professors with structures manuals and the workbook be able to teach the course. I'm going to go in at my choosing to do a seminar a 2-hour seminar once a semester at certain schools. I can't go to every school in the country if it's across this country, but to come in as the author and the speaker of the man behind the course, that's powerful. I would love to do that to show my passion to the students, and that's my goal, to get it to that point where I have the courses out there, they're doing their thing, and I just kind of guest appear and speak, and then just speak everywhere else I can or wherever I'm called to speak.
So when you go to Secret Knock, what are you going there for?
Yeah, and that's an amazing organization, just an event, I should say, life-changing event. The relationships, obviously, you gravitate towards certain people. We met there, we connected, we had the energy together. So, several hundred people, you meet a lot of people, but you walk away with those lasting connections. In 5 minutes or even in 30 seconds sometimes, if you have an energy with somebody, the likability, I could trust this person, with a common linked in mind, you can kind of tell. I'm a good reader of people. So I'm going there for relationships, see who I can help. It's all about helping people in life and who we can align to do things together and just to learn. There's dozens and dozens of great entrepreneurial people that get on that stage. You spoke on that stage. I was on that stage the first time I was there, but billionaires, past president of Mexico, just phenomenal people that you don't just meet and hear it speaking at events.
Yeah.
So I'm going for two reasons to answer your question: to hear people speak and learn, some dropping bombs, all dropping bombs, and to make great connections. And I have made life-changing connections.
How many years have you went?
This is my second event when I met you in March, September, and then March.
You going to every one of them?
I'll be going. I already signed up for next March. Yeah, it's no brainer.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
No brainer. I was at 3 events in California for the last couple of days. Like you probably as well, I'm sure. I like to meet people. I like to see who I connect with. And it's just, I believe in manifestation and energy and things are meant to be. I'm a big believer in all that. So where I'm positioned and what happens, when I'm meant to meet somebody, I'm meant to meet somebody. People turn to me or I sit down with someone what do you do? What do you do? Oh my God, we're so aligned. We're meant to meet and let's do things. So I believe in that. So by being out there, it's kind of like the energies kind of find each other in a good way.
Yeah.
So
if you're listening to this, that means you're more than likely interested in solving problems and or entrepreneurialism. Of course, there's also humor factor. But if you're listening to this, that's what you are. What would you tell people out there that are just getting started? Someone like, young Uriel here.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, and this is very simple. This is how I did it as well. And my grandfather did it, what I told you before. If you take 100 people starting to work for a company the same day, same background, same education, same social status, same money from the parents and mommy and daddy on day one, and I've had hundreds of people working for me over the years, it's very simple. You have to outdo, outshine, outwork the rest of the pack, but not by competition, but cooperation. And that's the big difference. It's not competition. You're going to come in earlier. You're going to stay late. You're going to work through lunch at times, but you're going to be a team player and see who you can help. And you're going to have a personality that's going to shine beyond yourself. And the peers and the bosses and the people that work there are going to see that. I like this guy. I like this gal. She's got energy. He's got energy. They're working hard at helping people. It's not brain surgery. It's not brain surgery. If you want to come in at 9, leave at 5, that's fine. Just do that if that's what you want. If success to you is just having a mediocre job and having lots of spare time, you want to have a white picket fence and a dog and go on one vacation a year and not work too hard, that's fine. You know what? That's success for that person. I talk about that in my book. That's success to you. Success is not money. It's not monetary. It's not wealth. Success is success. Success in business and life. What do you want your life to look like? Then go after it. But if you want to crank it out and you want big things and you got to work, you got to put the time in. And then, so that's the difference. And these people can shine. In everything you do, it's easy to be average. It's easy to be average. Some of the great motivational speakers say, if you do what it's hard in life, life will be easy. If you do what is easy in life, life will be hard. And you got to understand that. So when you're in a job, you could just be average. Average is easy. Just go ahead, go through your life, get up, go to bed at night, and be happy with that. But you got to crank it out. You got to look for opportunities. And listen, all the big words, hard work, sacrifice, dedication, commitment, all that stuff, yeah, it matters. So the basis of the book is, here's a guy, a mentor that did it big time. And lots of obstacles that he never stopped looking forward, even when things came up. And you mentioned that before. When hardships come up, and I tell the high school and colleges, there'll be deaths. There'll be financial setbacks. There'll be tragedies. There'll be divorcing parents. There'll be difficulties. There'll be failing in this, getting out of this, not kicked out of that. Whatever's going to happen, it's life. And they're not teaching that in schools. I tell them that. I don't harp on it for more than 2 minutes, but I want them to know life's not going to be easy. That's life. You're not learning that. But guess what? You're going to crank it out and go right through it. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's kind of where the angle is.
Mm. Is this the picture?
Yeah, that's my grandfather when he was 18.
So what was his story? He left Cyprus because it was like what, poverty or?
So here's the real detail about it. So basically, his father was a very hardworking guy. He was a horse and buggy horse guy for the island.
Your great granddad.
My great grandfather, yes. So he was on the horse and buggy, taking people around the island of Cyprus, old people, people were going from one place to another. This is early 1900s. And, at times he'd be on the horse with his dad or taking care of the horses. He had a bunch of horses there, but he worked very hard. He was not home that much and they were still poor. So he just didn't want that life. And so he basically decided, like, I'm out of here. Like, I don't want this to be my life. I want to be something in life and be somebody. And not that he didn't love his family, he loved them dearly. And he just wanted to get ahead in life. And he knew he'd send money back to his family, which, by the way, he never stopped doing ever. He gave them a life that he needed to give them. So that was that yearning for life. And I can't explain it. It's called Christopher Columbus, sailing across the ocean, even though there's some controversy of who really found America, whatever. But he just had that in him, that passion to get ahead. And for me, like I said, he was 16 years old, and he did that. 16. When I'm in schools and I talk to kids, I say, who in here is 16? And I make them stand up. I said, look, I want to look around to each other. My grandfather left home at 16 years old by himself with nothing, scared to death. He's saying to himself, what did I do? But then never looked back after that. Just understand, you have roofs over your head, a meal on the table, you got your family, whatever your status is, maybe you're living in a hard life right now or not, but it doesn't define you. Doesn't make you who you are, doesn't determine your destiny. You could do anything you want to do. And that's kind of the mantra of the book and my grandfather and my message, because people will say, I say to people in the audience, who here thinks my grandfather was disadvantaged? And some raise their hands, a lot raise their hands. And I pause, I say, actually, he was very advantaged because his mindset and power in his mind got him advantaged in life to go ahead no matter what. He knew he'd make it, never stopped. And that was the power. And that's the message I'm trying to put across to these kids. Big time.
Yeah. Well, it's worked for me.
Yeah.
I dropped out of school at 16, got kicked out at 16. So he left all courageously.
Yeah.
I got booted.
Yeah.
But my dad was a little bit of a drinker.
Yeah.
And he was very strict in a way to where I forgot to mow the lawn. He came home a little bit drunk, basically said, beat it. So I had to grab a bag and leave at 16, and I never went back.
Wow.
But you sound like you're describing my mindset. Like I believed the whole time I was going to be a billionaire. I thought it might only take, a couple months. I didn't know it'd take years. However, I always believed that, man, I'm going to be definitely successful.
And you manifested it.
Well, yeah.
You did.
That's why, again, when you brought up Think and Grow Rich, totally believe in laws of attraction.
Yeah.
All of the things. But when it boils down to it, it's not rocket science. You said brain surgery. I always say rocket science. Yeah. It's not rocket science. No. People don't want to just take action. And more importantly, they don't want to take responsibility.
Right.
Like at some point you have to take a responsibility. You're lazy.
Right.
You got to take responsibility. You are, I don't want to say stupid. Let's say ignorant.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Because at some point in time, look, I'm not where I want to be. Well, then where do you want to be? Most people can't answer that.
You're right. And that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
They don't have the goals written out. Where do you want to get to? This is a fact of Think and Grow Rich, and just write out your goals, short-term, long-term, and that wish. You got to have goals. You want to get up in the morning, know you're working towards something. And they say when you reach your goal, you better have another goal set up after that. So you're something you can strive for. You know how many people want to lose weight and they just don't ever start because they don't start?
Well, yeah, but why? I like to try to figure out why. And you know what I came up to? They don't like themselves.
Yes. Oh, a lot of them. Absolutely.
And they don't even know it.
Absolutely.
Again, I was a victim, probably still am a little bit, but I've let myself down and procrastinated, and I've lied to people, and I've, I don't want to say cheated on girls because we were just going out, but you've done some stupid shit you wish you didn't do. You've said some things you wish you didn't say, not only to others, but yourself. Procrastination, letting you down, not working out, not reaching your potential, those type of things.
Right.
Well, think about the subconscious as an invisible friend.
Right.
And years you just been screwing that friend over to where eventually the friend's like, okay, I'll show you.
Right. That's exactly.
And they start literally steering you wrong. Your subconscious is steering you wrong. Why? To pay you back because you've taught the subconscious you're not worth shit.
Yep.
You don't keep the truth. You don't do what you say. And when someone says, "Hey, you think I should go work out?" No, dude, come on, man. You're good.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to tell you because I don't want you getting better.
Right.
You don't deserve to be better.
Right.
You don't deserve to have confidence.
Right.
So that's my theory.
Right. You're right. Right on. It's the subconscious mind is so powerful because you put the negative in, it goes through the filter and comes in negative. You go in positive, it comes in positive, stays positive. The subconscious mind, when you know about it deep and you know Think and Grow Rich, it's deep. It's like when you're sleeping, it's working, and when you're on like this, it's working. Everything you're feeding yourself. When you're thinking positive and you're around positive people and you're eating healthy and you're going through life and you're happy with yourself and you sleep well at night, think about what your subconscious mind, your brain, it's mindset, but it's a sponge for that. And it's a fact of life.
It's a projector.
It's a fact of life. It is absolutely a projector. And it's proven, the Think and Grow Rich model is all about that. And all these smart philosophers, they all talk about this stuff. And the fuel into your brain about positivity. And I will tell you something, and again, my grandfather's message, this man never spoke negative, ever. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you, never, about anything in his life, any bad stories, any bad people, never. The only thing I would ever hear of, like, yeah, I used to hang out with that guy, but he got too phony and too materialistic, and too big for himself. I didn't hang out with him anymore. That was probably the most negative thing he ever said, because he was smart enough, even about that, to hang around the right people. So it's the mindset and knowing what's good and bad. But listen, everybody's had some difficulty. Everybody has some, skeletons in the closet. But what I tell people when I speak anywhere on stage or in groups or wherever it is, companies, I tell people that to look themselves in the mirror, truly in quiet time. I don't care if the lights are out, turn the lights on, here I am. And you look at yourself and take your life in buckets and just in meditation, I don't care where you do it, and look at if you're happy with all the parts of your life. And seriously do that. I tell everyone I speak, do this tonight. Your health, your spouse, the relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your parents, brother and sister, your business partners, your business, society. Are you happy with who you are? Can you improve in any of those areas? And I'm not saying make massive changes. I'm saying if you look at your life and say, you know what, I can make some changes. Put a little mini business plan together and have different buckets. And for each of those buckets, just put what you do, your wish list. I don't care how big it is. Make a wish list. You just wrote yourself your life business plan. How awesome is that? And then just start. And don't do it all at once. If you want to lose weight, fine. Eat healthier and exercise. That's simple. You want a better relationship with your spouse? Go to dinner Friday nights. Start going to counseling. Like every couple should go to counseling once a year. I think it should be mandatory. And parenting counseling once a year. Mandatory. If I could change one thing on this earth, I'd change that tomorrow. But these are the simple things. But everything you're talking about, we've all had issues. We've all had setbacks. But if you're good in your mind, and you could put your head on the pillow at night and sleep, knowing you've done the right thing in life and you've helped people and you've done right by everybody, it's a way to live. My grandfather lived that way. He slept like a baby every night, and he trained me that way. I'm an Eagle Scout. My brother's an Eagle Scout. We've been blessed to be like down that path. So my message to people is like just the goodness that I've lived my life. I'm 50 now, so like I'm 50. It's about time I get out there and continue to do this goodness and let people know this all works. This man works. So
You have kids?
3 girls.
How old?
13, 11, and 10.
So eventually you're going to be grandpa.
Yeah.
So you hope your grandkid says this about you?
100%. And they will. Because my kids right now, I give them motivation and inspiration. I show them lead by example. They see me working hard. They see me being good to people, talking to everybody, thanking people, the hostess or the waiter, what's your name? Like just the goodness. My grandfather tipped everybody. The waiter, little dollar. The busboy, little dollar. Dollar, not $10. Little money to acknowledge their existence. He loved that. So yes.
And again, that works.
It works. He made people feel good. But to answer your question, yeah, I'm very close to my girls. And I'm divorced. And you know what? Divorce isn't failure. You can make divorce still a success. If 2 people don't work out together, that's okay. But if you have kids, make it a success still. Be a good parent still. Make it work. Be cordial. It's a business transaction. You don't have to love your ex or be friends, but it's professional. Make it cordial.
Until they start humping somebody.
Well, a different story. Well,
then I get all pissed.
Yeah, exactly. Different story.
Oh, I'll get all pissed.
Yeah.
Like if you ever feel like, you'll blow her out until she starts liking someone else, then you're like, what?
Yeah.
Get your ass back here.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Then you start going psycho.
See, I was
like, baby, don't you love me?
I was trying to go down the right path of righteousness here, and then you had to go backwards.
Well, that's because I keep it real.
Yeah,
And there's people out there thinking, oh, what a fairy tale.
Yeah, right.
Because and I agree with where you want to do,
right.
But how do you do it?
It's difficult.
I try to get to the how. So if you're best friends with your ex-wife, come get on the show and tell me how.
Yeah.
Now, my ex-wife, we're cordial,
Right.
but I wouldn't say we're friends, and I
Right.
wouldn't say like it's ideal.
Right. Cordial's fine. That word cordial, I'll use the word cordial. Cordial's good. As
Yeah,
long
but
as,
that's not what your ideal. Your ideal
Well, it's
is you
friends.
guys show up together. You show unity.
Right.
You communicate. You're talking to each other all the time, so they're not playing you against each other.
Right.
And you're just best friends that are no longer married.
that could be a fairy tale. That's like 0.001% probably are like that. And that's great. And that's the best case
That's the
scenario. Ideal. But most, if you can get to cordial, respect each other for being parents, great parents, if you both are, as long as one's not a mental case or disaster. If both are good parents, then respect that.
What if one is a mental case?
Then you got problems. That's where
So how do you fix them?
that's hard. Sometimes one party takes full custody, the other, just kind of,
Dude, this ain't called identifying problems.
yeah.
This is called dropping
Yeah,
bombs.
Let's get back to
So
dropping bombs.
So we want to talk about a problem and then try and figure out how to do it. And by the way, you don't always have to know everything. Sometimes people say, well, how'd you do it? I don't even know.
Yeah, counseling. It's counseling, honestly. Because when you realize, here's the deal, and we can get off the kid thing because it's how we went down this road, but it's realizing that you have kids, you brought kids in this world, you have a responsibility.
That's right.
Responsibility to make them be the best they could be. And if you're divorced and you hate your spouse, I don't care. You got kids and you got an obligation on this earth to take care of these kids. Grow up and make sure they're the best they can be. And if they see you fighting, they see you taking off, leaving to a different state and talking
Being
nasty,
mad.
whatever. So yeah, different story, different topic. You can bring me back on for that whole. I can go on for that's my next book, relationships.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
I say relationships are the new economy.
Yeah. Because guess what? 55% divorce rate. Here's why I wrote the book too. 55% divorce rate. Small businesses fail in the first year or two. 60% at least. We got a problem. College education is not working. So to put a course called How to Succeed in Business and Life, guess what? Game changer.
Game changer.
And that's why the deans love it, the professors love it, the teachers love it, and parents love it. To a point where they say, I wish there was a course like this when I went to school, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
That's why they're on board. They're on
I
board.
would have loved it.
They're on board.
I would have loved to have grandpa.
Yeah. He was awesome.
I had a good grandpa, I guess.
Yeah.
But see, again, I left when I was 16, so
I know,
like,
you
you
missed
didn't
out a
get
lot.
a grandpa long.
Yeah, you missed a lot. I had 37 years. We went on cruises. In fact, here's my inside of my jacket. I had a guy make this for me. Is that sick?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Those pictures everywhere you went?
This is pictures from the book. Pictures of us on the cruise of Bermuda, smoking a stogie right here somewhere, smoking a cigar on his cruise, covered a book, pictures of him.
What did he say about smoking cigars?
That was cool. He smoked his pipe. He smoked his pipe. He loved it.
What did he say about women?
He loved women.
See, I love talking to old people.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
The older, the better.
The
dude.
wisdom.
I like
Oh,
when they're
yeah.
like, just raisined.
I love it.
Like old raisin
Yeah.
can barely even move,
Yeah.
but they can still talk and think. I
Oh,
love them.
the wisdom.
Dude, you just start asking questions.
Amazing.
If you sit next to an old person like that and you ain't asking questions, you're a dumbass.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, dude, I don't care who it is. Old people have knowledge. They have knowledge. Now, again, it may be what you want to know so you don't do it.
Right.
But, dude, they've got so much knowledge. When I start talking to people that up in their years, like when I say up in the years, I'm talking about 90.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you can ask them anything. Hey, how do you keep women happy? They'll
Yeah.
tell you. And what's funny is it sounds like they're joking, but they're not.
No, they got knowledge. Forget about reading books. I mean, like life. I love old people. I mean, I miss my grandfather every day, but like I love old people because that wisdom, and especially that greatest generation, which are dying off by by the numbers now. But
Yeah.
that went through the early 1900s, the 1920s and 30s and 40s. Like that generation was like the greatest generation, and that's my grandfather's era. But
See, why do you say that?
Because the wisdom, because the hardships they went through, whether they came here as immigrants or the depression, they struggled through that. They knew hardship. They knew fortitude to get through things. They knew to have 3 jobs. Like I grew up knowing that if I need to have 3 jobs to support my family and shovel crap in a circus from an elephant, I would have done that. Like that was my mindset from him.
Yeah, but 3 part-time jobs? Because, again, people say, I work 3 full-time jobs. How the hell do you do that and still sleep?
Well, that's a different story. I mean, if you got to provide for your family temporarily till you find something, my thing was if I needed to do it temporarily to support my family, I'd do what I had to do. But you always want to still be moving and advancing in life, not be stuck.
Well, that's how you do it. You work, Again,
Right.
you nailed it earlier.
Yeah.
You work, you keep your eyes peeled, you be ethical, opportunities arise. They're all stepping stones.
Absolutely.
I took a job doing this, met so-and-so that brought this up. Then I saw this, recognized that. Next thing I know, I quit my job and jumped over to that. And then
Right.
boom, 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 boom,
Right.
boom.
Right.
Now I'm a multimillionaire, this,
Right.
that, and the other thing.
Right.
It's all, that's why I say relationships.
Oh, they're everything.
And where do you get relationships? Work environments.
Yeah.
That's why when you go to you go to places, ask people, well, how'd you guys meet? Oh, we met at work, or oh, we met it through work. That's one of the, I would guess, main ways you meet people.
Yeah, but I think these mastermind or networking events, Chamber of Commerce is, I mean, there's a big faction. If you're a person that's sociable and able to connect with people pretty easily, let's say, if you have that gift, you should be out meeting people.
For sure.
Absolutely. Because I tell
More
you,
hands you shake, more money you
oh,
make.
yeah. And because you know what? The relationships, the connections. And you can sift through, hey, he's a good guy, she's a good gal. Like, nah, he's not good. You go through, and then it's all about how can we help each other? Hey, I got some good, what are you looking to do? Oh, I know someone can help you. I got a great contact. Let me help you. Again, it takes years to build those contacts, but I was that guy starting out in the Chamber of Commerce's, networking groups. Like, you start out, and this is some of the things my parents always told me I knew in life. You need an education for the background knowledge, but it's the relationships that set you up in life. It's who you know, not what you know. My grandfather was a testament to that. That's how he grew up his life. That's how he moved in advance. Hey, Charlie, there's another job over here. I'm going to see if I can put you in for it. Charlie, you're doing great here. Let's move you up to manager. Like, it's just all that stuff. But the relationships, if you're in a silo and you go to work and come home, and your work's a small little office, where are you going in life? Where are you going? You got to meet people. You got to be out. So you got to be able to. And this is some of the things that the younger generation is not doing as much is the social networking or connections. They're doing a lot of social media stuff, but the relationships are invaluable. And when you and I know, we met at Secret Knock. We spoke for 10 minutes, and here I am. If I was, not a nice person or just a jerk, you would have been like, hey, nice meeting you, and you would have walked away. Right?
For sure.
Right. So, that's how it works.
And also keep in mind that when certain people get to a level of a certain amount of success, they start to get to choose who they do business with.
Right.
So that's why it's even more important, because the caliber of people you want to do business with can determine who they want to do business with.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. And that's what it comes down to. So that's where the point we are, where, and a lot of people know you, and they're going to come up to you, hey, get me on your show. Can I come on your show? And that's just, that's goofy.
Well, do believe it or not, well, that does happen a lot. But I can tell you this. I've had people that are living on their brother's back porch couch. That's where they live. I've had them on the show. Why?
Love it.
Because the show's about getting past problems, situations, challenges, and sometimes the problems that people are currently facing is like parallel to other people listening. And they're like, shit, I'm not on my brother's couch, but I'm about to be. So what'd this guy do? And what happened? And what'd Brad think? And what'd Brad say? And what was the story that gave me the nugget? And that's why I'm excited to go read your book, because it sounds like this book is filled with nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
See, I got a book coming out one of these days. I got to finish it. I've got about half written.
Yeah.
It's called The Hard Way.
Love it.
And it's basically lessons I learned the hard way, so you don't have to.
Right.
Which it sounds like that's what this is.
Yeah.
It's just not titled that.
Right. And you lived it.
Dude, I lived it.
Yeah. You're gonna enjoy the book, because you're gonna understand. If you went through a lot of difficulty in life, probably alone at times, but you kept, like you said, you had that mindset. I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work.
It was mindset, or I like to say perspective.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't think, like, for example, people come in here and think, holy shit, dude, how did you build this? This is impressive. And I think, it is? Like, I don't really think it is.
Right.
Why? Because I know where I want to be, and I'm not anywhere close. I feel pissed off that it's only this big.
Right.
Now people say, oh, you're just being humble. No, it's the truth. It's my perspective.
Right. You're being real.
Now I've also been homeless on the beach, literally for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Sleeping on a beach.
Wow. So you got to that level, and that's important.
Yeah, but guess what? I don't think it was that big a deal. Like, it was a beach.
Right.
So at the end of the day, man, people freak out and they're like, dude, what happened when you hit rock bottom? How did you keep going? And all these questions, like, it was a big deal. Like, sleeping on the beach is a big deal to people, but to me, it wasn't that big a deal.
And
I don't see it as rock bottom.
I'll tell you what it is, because you're grounded in your mind, and that's impressive, because when you're, whether you're making billions or you're on the bottom, like you've been at the bottom,
See, again, I don't think that's the bottom.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to tell you realistically, you had no home. Let's put it in perspective. You had no home.
So what?
You had nowhere to live.
There's people with no arms,
right?
And no
that's
home,
worse, right?
And nowhere to live. There's
Thank
people
you.
in prison,
yes,
that can't go anywhere,
right?
And can't do anything, and that can't get a job,
Agreed.
And can't find a spouse.
Agreed.
Well, preferably not in prison,
right?
My point being is, dude, there is way, way lower than that. So that's why I'm trying to say, to me, sleeping on the beach, it was a freaking beach, Malibu. No, it was Zuma Beach. But dude, it wasn't rock bottom. It's just rock bottom to who?
And it was temporary.
It was mindset. It was perspective. Right. I didn't think it was that big a deal.
Right. But it was temporary. That's the difference. And the point I want to make.
And I knew that. And maybe, by the way, you just figured it out.
Yes.
Maybe because I knew it was temporary.
That's the point I was going to make. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
100%.
Make it.
No,
I got a bomb waiting.
Dude, you're
on
right
you.
on. No, the point is that because you knew it was temporary, like my grandfather. That's the point I wanted to tie together. You knew it was temporary. This is just, I'm here for a little while. That's why it wasn't a big deal to you.
Hey, you know what? And I've never really realized that till you just pointed it out. I always wondered. I wonder why I do that. And that might be it, because I realized it was temporary.
It didn't matter to you. It's all good.
Well, I knew I could go home if I really needed to.
Right.
I didn't want to.
Right.
My dad kicked me out. I wanted to show him.
Right. And I love
Screw
it.
you. I'm not going home.
Right.
I'm not losing.
Right.
So everyone says, well, then you just did all this to prove to your dad you're worthy. Well, again, you can psychoanalyze it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why I did it, but it was a little bit of inspiration. But you just touched on something that I'm like, hey, maybe that is it, because I knew it was temporary, because I did.
And I'm going to further that knowledge for you as well, because you knew you had greatness inside of you. So it was temporary. You were there. You're like, I'm going to show him, but it's not about showing him, not revenge. I have greatness inside of me. I know what I'm worth. And I'm going to prove to everybody what I'm worth, because I know what I'm worth. So that's the point as well. So it's that temporary space, like, all right, let me figure this thing out. I'm regrouping right now on this beautiful beach. It's all good. I'll figure it out.
That's right.
Let me figure out my perspective, where I want to be. Let me figure out my angle. And you came out of it. And that's the beautiful part. The Tony Robbins of the world, the Les Browns of the world, these guys they started from nothing. And that's the beauty of getting to that point. And that's the point, getting to that point, the lowest level in a sense, where you're homeless. And that's the lowest point of society, in a sense. Yes, there's always people worse off, always worse off. You know that, and you hit the point before. But that is that point to be able to regroup and say, I don't want to remain here. Like,
what would you rather be, homeless or hopeless?
Homeless, because it's temporary. Because hopeless is in your mind. You can get out of hopelessness too, though, if it's mindset. But so it's both. Homeless is temporary, but probably if you're hopeless but have a home, it's probably better than being homeless, maybe, because you can get back on being hopeful again with the right mindset.
Well, here's another thing that I've always looked at. It's kind of odd. Is like, let's say a little boy runs around, bumps his head on the table. You watched, wasn't that hard, couldn't have hurt that hard, but they freak out and cry like you wouldn't believe. You ever seen it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
Why are they freaking out?
They want attention.
Or because they keep being stuck in the past. So in other words, I bump my head, and now all I can think about is my head hurting and me bumping it, and it was traumatic, and I got pain, and I'm just stuck there in that past. When in reality, if you walk up to somebody and you say, you want a toy? Have you ever seen a baby quit crying?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because you just brought them to the present.
Oh, it's powerful. I agree 100%. We can go down that road. I love this conversation.
Well, people don't live in the present.
Yeah.
And by the way, they don't even know what the present is, most of them. I'll say, what's the present? And they're like, now. Nope. As soon as you say now, it's no longer the present.
Right.
Like it's almost half the word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nah.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
can't.
right.
As soon as you start to say it,
Second from now.
Yeah.
Second from now.
It ain't there.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that's powerful, because that's a very important point. And for all your listeners, I'm sure they've heard you talk about it before. But when you're talking about the past, and my grandfather was big on this, and I'm big on this, I don't look backwards. I don't let negativity get in my mind. I don't dwell on stuff. It's the poison in our mind. And the more time you talk about, I'll get him, he burned me, I'll burn her, I can't believe they did that, I can't believe I lost money. Oh my God, you're giving them the power. How about release it all? You know what? I wish him well. I'm going to go on my way. I know it's easier to say than do, but you're allowing that situation to define you, because you're just thinking about it. If you're losing sleep over it, they win. The situation wins. If you've dwelled your life, listen, you could talk about football players that in the first year break their leg and they're out of football for life. Talk about The Rock. There you go, The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson. That's his story.
Yeah. Now, what if he would have stayed in the NFL?
Yeah.
He'd be broke down.
Yeah.
More
Done.
than likely, broke down injury wise.
Right.
and
went through all his money already, probably.
Yeah, period.
And so he talks about, look at that. I was meant for the fellow. I was down on myself, and I said, let me just switch this now to go into wrestling. It's the best thing he ever did, he said. So you made a great point. People that think in the past, don't do all. Learn from the past.
What about picking the right friends? What'd your grandpa say
Very
about
important.
that?
Well, I told you about that. So that's the only thing that he would say, if I want to call it negative. It wasn't really negative. He would just say to me, don't, and this is big, he said, don't hang around with phonies. Actually, he would also say, don't tell people how much money you have, because they'll be coming for your pockets for things or investments or opportunities. You don't need people to know how much money you have. Live below your means, right? These are all things that are good lessons. But the friend part, he liked people that weren't phonies. He used that word a lot. I don't like phonies. So when people thought they were big and started making money, he's like, I'm done. Whether it was family or not, like not like tight family, but cousins, I'm done with him. Like
even tight family.
Yeah.
I listen. If someone asks me my advice is I don't care who you are. You need to weed the garden.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because if you look around and the circle you keep does not inspire you, well then you're not in a circle.
Right.
You're in like a cage.
Right.
I think I read that on a meme the other day.
I like that.
Yeah, because like if you look around, you're not inspired by the people you hang out with, dude, you're hanging out with the wrong people.
Absolutely.
And when people say, well, how do I get to the next level? Well, first of all, why don't you maximize the level you're on? You realize, pretend this is a level, right? And you're here. People say, how do I get here? If you maximize this level, the next thing you know, you're on this level.
Right.
And then you're like, well, shit, how do I get to the next level? Just maximize this level. And like, holy crap, I'm on the next level. Quit worrying about the next level. Start focusing on the level you're on.
Right.
And then you'll master it so well, you'll look around and you'll be like, holy crap, I'm on the next level.
Right.
So now how do I get to the next level? You don't worry about the next level. Maximize the level you're on, kids.
That's a big dropping bomb, big time. And you know what also, and I love that, because here's a big now message for the keep people starting out, let's say, or even people at different levels. If you get into a chamber or a charity or the board of your club, right? Or into a club, right? It's one thing to just be a member, but like I'll take myself as an example. I didn't talk much about myself, and I don't usually do that often, but I wanted to get, because it's obnoxious, but
I always talk about myself because people are asking questions, especially if I go out to dinner with new people.
But that's different. That's
I know, but
different.
But here's what's funny. Here's how you turn it all around. So you talk, starts to get uncomfortable. And then you say, all right, enough about me.
Yeah, right.
What do y'all think about me?
Yeah, right. And then they'll say, no, tell us more. That's okay.
No, you try that. You didn't even hear the joke.
The joke?
Yeah. You say, like, let's say people are asking you questions, and of
Right.
course you're obliging them and you're answering. And it's
Right.
fun to talk about what we've done and all that. And after a while, you start to think, shit, I've been talking about myself for 10, 15 minutes. I better figure out a way to stop. I always say, enough about me. And then real quick, what do y'all think about me?
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
Dude,
Oh, that's funny.
It's the funniest
Oh, that's
line
funny. Oh, that's
ever.
great, because then they laugh.
Dude, everybody will literally bust up laughing.
And you want to make sure they're listening, too, because I want to go around the room. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so
Whether they answer or not.
Yeah, so you try it. You practice it.
I'll practice
Do
that.
one. Ready. On me. Just role play.
So what do you think about me?
Nope.
Oh.
Enough about
Oh,
me.
yeah, okay, that's easy. I'm sorry. I could be an actor. Don't worry. If anyone's listening, I'm a good actor, promise. Enough about me. Well, actually, what do you think about me?
See, dude, that makes
On the
me
fly.
laugh, and
On
I
the
already
fly.
know the joke.
On the fly.
If you've never heard that, people will crap their pants, Mark. Everyone will be like, and you got that funny, happy personality.
Yeah.
So if you'd pulled that one,
Yeah.
dude, I'm telling you, you're going to be a hit at the end of the whole story.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to use it every time I think of you.
What do you think of, what'd your grandpa think of humor? Was he very funny?
Humor's big, but I want to list my point before I forget the point before about if you're a member of any of these associations, your church, your club, a chamber, or a charity, don't just be a member. Get to the board. That's the difference. And I did that in my life. That's what I wanted to say before. I worked to the board of everything, the planning board of my town, the board of my chamber, the board of my club, the board of charity. That's the difference. You want to start? Get to the first level there, because guess what? Who's on the board? Power hitters. This is like a major dropping bomb. Power hitters. Okay, I like that. But that's the difference. So anything you get involved in, you want to raise to the top, like you talked about. Earn your job. Get involved in the charitable things, the Habit for Humanity, the Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff, the Red Cross. That's the difference. So that's how you do it wherever you are, to move yourself up continually. But about the friends, too. You want to make sure you're with the right friends, and you can continue to gravitate towards good people. Humor. My grandfather was very funny. Like, I have thousands of hours of video and pictures of this dude. Like, very funny. Personality, loved life. This dude, after every meal, generally at someone's house, not always a restaurant, would say literally, "This is the best meal I ever had." And he meant it genuinely. Like, he meant it because the best meal at that minute he was having. He was just the kind of guy he was. But he'd laugh, he'd tell jokes. He just, every day was happy hour at his house, by the way, because he lived close to us. 5 o'clock. "You come over for happy hour?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not sure." Well, we're having it without you, so if you're coming by, we're having it. He'd have his blue cheese, saltine crackers, olive, scotch, and water until he got older. Then it was just wine. And the laughs, and whoever was around would come by. Just, that's life. He lived life.
Don't you wish you could tap into him still?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, man, when they go, it's like, where are they?
Yeah.
Because what do you think? Is it the body that goes, but the spirit lives on? What do you think about all
He's
that?
with me. He's with me all the time. I know it. He's smiling. He's loving all this. Yeah, without a doubt. I know there's spirits and the energy. I believe in all that. I do.
Yeah, so do I.
Heavily.
Well, you have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we're energy.
Yeah. I believe energy. I believe spirits. I believe if you open your mind, I believe you'll get some connections and some conversation with things. And
You can't eliminate energy.
yeah,
You can only dissipate and redirect
yeah,
energy. So again, I'm one of the believers that, like, when you drop dead, you as the human body shell, where's the spirit? Where's the soul? Where's the consciousness? Where does it go? I don't know if you remain human or you remember your life, or if you're just boom back in the universal, heavens of cosmos.
Your spirit, your energy is just there. I mean, I know. I mean, I've been told by people, like, literally smart, not kooky, cracky, like, your grandfather's with you. Like, he's over your left shoulder regularly. You have spirits all around you. You have this energy, this glow about you. There's people in your life, like, with you. Like, you have people in your life.
Dude, I think I've got angels on my shoulders.
I love it.
You know how I know?
How?
Well, I know for a million reasons.
I love it.
But I can tell you, just happened. I got these 2 rabbits for my daughters. Okay. Now, I'm thinking cute. They'll get, they're little rabbits, you clean their cage. They won't get too bad. Well, they weren't cleaning the cages. My wife wasn't really, focused on cleaning the cages. So they started kind of stinking up the room. So for a long time, I'm just tolerating it, which, again, you get what you tolerate. So
Right.
You got a stinky house? You're tolerating a stinky house.
Right. Clean the house.
So one day I get in there and it's like, dude, I work and now I got to come home and clean too. Like, I'm not real excited about that. I think there should be some teamwork here. I bitch a little bit. Doesn't seem to work. It's a chore, and apparently they don't want to do it. So I come home one day and I was fed up and I said, "Hey babe, we're going to have to get rid of those rabbits right now. Like, I want rid of those rabbits right now. Let's find someone who wants them." So we find a lady. She says she only wants them if they're fixed because she doesn't want baby rabbits. I'm like, well, I don't even know if they're male and female, but, I'll give you money to fix them. Go fix them. Just get them the hell out. Dude, I just got a picture. Guess what happened?
What?
They just had babies.
Oh, that's crazy. And they were fixed too?
No, they weren't fixed.
Oh, you never fixed them?
No, I said I'd give you the money.
Oh, you said she
but
didn't do it.
But she didn't want them because she didn't want baby rabbits.
That's crazy.
And I definitely didn't want baby rabbits.
Right, that's funny.
But dude, something told me to get rid of those rabbits.
Wow.
Something just said, get rid of those rabbits.
Wow.
And I was like, normally I'm a little bit laid back. Like, if you say, hey, I'll pay you on Thursday, and you call me Thursday and say, dude, can I get a couple more weeks? Yeah, whatever. Because I don't really care as long as, dude, something was telling me, get rid of them damn rabbits.
You have intuition. I don't want to go down that road because I'm a big believer in this, but you have intuition. If you tap into your infinite wisdom, you got the whole energy.
It's true.
Wisdom,
Well, I want
spirit
to
thing.
invite you back for more of that because, again, light speed. I call it light speed fate.
Yeah.
There's been times where if I didn't get $50,000 in the next 5 days, we wouldn't stay in business, literally. And then, like, 4 days later, the phone rings. Hey, and I'm finally ready. And I'm thinking, dude, I haven't talked to you for like a year.
Love it.
And then, okay, so here's the check, and I look at the check, and it's like $50,227, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
I love it.
Boom.
I love
Pay
it.
the debt. Proceed. That's happened 100 times.
I can tell. I don't want to go into it now. But I could tell you 25 stories in the last year alone since I wrote this book. The universe has opened up to me like crazy. People have like found me like I can't even begin to tell you. But I believe in all this big time.
So where do people follow you?
So a couple things. So grandfatherlessons.com is the website for the book, and they can learn a lot about it. The book they can buy on Amazon. I have a ebook, softcover, hardcover, and audio's coming out in about a month.
And you don't know it yet, but one of these days I'm going to close you on a virtual training system. But we'll save that for later.
We will, but it'll definitely happen. I got
Instagram.
timing. So Instagram is Marc Marc Demetriou. Everything's Marc Demetriou. MARC Demetriou, DEMETRIOU. That's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all Marc Demetriou. Again, Marc Demetriou.
Man, it's been fun having you. Folks, share this episode out there. There might be someone in your family that wants lessons, even if you don't, because there's some people that think they know everything out in the world.
Right.
So at least do yourself a favor, man. Pass on the good, what do you call it?
For the good vibes, good energy.
Good vibes, good energy.
Good wisdom.
Pass it on. Share this out. Make this episode the most shared episode on the planet. And Marc, I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
We're going to have you back, talk about some more things.
Thanks, buddy.
Till next time, kids.
Hey, take a shot here while I'm here. A good one while I'm smiling. Is that a good camera? Okay, baby. I'm going to take a picture of you with that drop-it bombs.